discussion about how Jubilant Group is doing great, and I have been to the Greater Noida office and have met Vivekji at multiple forums. We have shared the dais multiple times. So that was really interesting to listen. So I think this time we will reverse the direction. So we'll start with the domain expert from law and legal compliance, as he has CA and CS together. So we would like to hear from you as to what has been the current trend of compliance towards the CSR, right from the word go, when we go back to the annals of history of 2013, talking about 135 subsection 1, and also talking about the kind of activities listed under Schedule 7, and what was the first perception of the corporates, how they started implementing it, what are the bottlenecks, challenges, guidelines of the government, how Ministry of Corporate Affairs took it forward, and how do we see things forward? So maybe just a brief snapshot.
Thank you. It's a good question. In fact, as far as the compliance is concerned, because the regulator is making the regulations tougher and tougher day by day. As I was mentioning at the Companies Amendment Act 2019, they have taken the completely a 360 degrees turn. Initially it was comply or explain. From there they said that criminal provisions will be triggered if you are not coming around. Because the government was utterly disappointed the way the corporates were responding to corporate social responsibility. Because the statistics have shown that the amount of money what was spent in 2016, if you compare it with 2018, the graph was going down. Whereas the corporate's profitability was going up. That's what I said, that every corporate is giving something or the other in the board's report, stating that what is the reason for not spending the money. It was never the intention of the regulator, you have to comply or explain. Regulator said, look, always we have to say that you have to comply. God forbids, for any reason if you are not able to comply, please mention the reason in the board's report, because board's report is a legal document. And every director is responsible for the whatever you are writing, comma, full stop also, the every director is responsible for that. That is one part of it. Now, of course, because of the regulatory enforcement, industry is swallowing the pill, started spending, but still, the way it is supposed to be, as Vivekji has mentioned it, with the passion, I'm sorry to say that corporates are not spending. Why? I will give a small example to you. I stay in Mumbai. About a couple of months before, I think not couple of months before, I think during the COVID period, last stages of the COVID period, I have seen one beggar in a dustbin, the Kudaga. He was chasing away the dog to take the food which was there in the dustbin. The dog was fighting with the man. Sir, I am not exaggerating it. It is really, I have seen that. And that also in Bombay, naked poverty in Bombay, where you have the world-class #1 industrialists are there, celebrities are there, bureaucrats are there. You name the top-notch person in India, he is there in Mumbai. On the other extreme, you have seen such a naked poverty, a beggar is chasing away the dog to have the food from the Kudaga. So, corporate social responsibility is a long way to go. And we are not even half the way, we are just made a beginning, that's it according to me. Now, one thing is definitely there, the regulator's intention. See, that charity, why charity is not a corporate social responsibility, this is the primary reason. Despite the fact it is in our DNA, the charity and responsibility, dan and seva, but still we are not able to eradicate the naked poverty.
Thank you so much. I think it goes from the traditional Indian history. We have three words, Danam, Bhogam, Nasham. So I don't think much of Indian corporates have actually realized if they are not doing Danam and Bhogam, it's ultimately getting towards Nasham. Very well explained. I think now we'll come to our UNICEF expert, who's a grand expert in the domain of WASH, and he has been always very kind to CIMP. Sir, pinpointed thoughts from your side as to what has been the overall approach of UNICEF while they are working with the child and adolescents towards the CSR domain. I'm sure UNICEF is doing a great job. So could you just help us understand how things are moving?
See, UNICEF is organizationally, we are a UN body. We have different country offices. For India, the country office is in Delhi. Then we have state offices. We have 13 state offices in India in different places, including Bihar, and that is in Patna only. Now, we do partner with this companies, but that's for our resource mobilization teams, which are sitting in Delhi or Mumbai or headquarters, who mobilize funds from different corporates, nationally, internationally. And that funding part is a separate section which is looked after by the resource mobilization team. The funds either are committed, there are different funding arrangements. One is individual contributions that are generated by UNICEF and through different campaigns, and corporate donations that come to the kitty, and they are distributed or perhaps allocated as per the commitment or the mandate of the corporate donor. I do not want to name the companies which are supporting us, but there are companies in absorbent, in furniture, in consumer goods. So there are different companies which are supporting us. What is required when we look at the state level thing, often that money comes with conditions, and we are not able to use that money as required because the priorities at the state level and the field level might be different. So what we were discussing, in fact, with CIMP also, that what is required, and it's good that we have sector specialists and the practitioners who are into CSR and the corporate people here. How can we generate? You spoke about you are from Bihar only. How can we generate funds for Bihar specifically? Because there are areas where we require funds, though there have been a lot of things done by the government in the last couple of years, several decades. Again, coming back to the SDG mandate and the discourse, we are just around 7 years from to attain 2030, and we have a long way to go. And pandemic has adversely impacted the entire development journey in the country and in Bihar as well. There are development deficit in health sector, education, water sanitation. There are challenges which need to be, perhaps there are a couple of issues which need to be ensured at the corporate level in terms of child rights, in terms of child labor, abolition. So these are the areas where we need to have constant discussion and see how we can sensitize the corporates. As you said that there is a provision under the Act, but it's more of like people have been spending money or they are trying to sort of manage that money, or at best during the pandemic we have seen the money has gone to PM Care or PM Relief Fund. But how that money can be judiciously used and invested in productive interventions at the community level, at the field level in different states, including Bihar, because we are based in Bihar, so we are talking about Bihar, all of Bihar. How many corporates, because Bihar is not an industrial state, and we are, as you said, that we are a consumer state, but that doesn't mean that we should not be getting the share, which is our due share. Most of the people who are working in those industries are coming from Bihar, but what we are getting in return. So these are the issues perhaps which need to be tackled, and I was just going through some data. I realized that you spoke about investment, and there was an assessment of 500 leading largest worldwide corporates, and it showed that 85% of them, this is 2019, 85% of them invested money in SDGs also, in different components. But the focus was more on SDG 12 or SDG 13, which is more of, if I say, sustainable consumption and production issues and other related. And SDG 1, and which is zero poverty, zero hunger, was the least addressed, and other issues. But post-pandemic, suddenly that money was visible in different SDG components and different 14 components, especially on engaging employees and growth and development of those places. Then we have also realized that I wanted to share one more thing, that when we talk of the specific investments, and you talked about Schedule 7 activities, it has been a trend now. Coming to India, it has been a trend that companies have invested into national flagship programs also. You spoke about Tata, and Tata invested a lot of money in Swachh Bharat Kosh, and they supported the Zilla Swachh Bharat Preraks across the states in many districts. Now these are the type of investment which is required in the sector, and how that money can be channelized for different interventions is important. And I would take this opportunity to sort of put an idea about having a consultation or discussion on this line, that which are the companies who can come to Bihar or who are based in Bihar and who are interested to invest in Bihar. While we take this forward, perhaps we would like to know, and maybe the House would also like to know, what are the challenges in CSR investment, CSR expenditure, challenges in terms of government policies. There is a regulation at the Government of India level on Companies Act, through Companies Act 2013. But when you go to the states, are there challenges at the state level which need to be addressed? Because we, in the inaugural session, we had Dr. Siddharth, who is the Principal Secretary of Finance. So perhaps we can take those issues to them, to the government, and work out together that how these challenges could be addressed, and the money is coming to the CSR or to the state can be invested properly.
Thank you very much. I think that was the point mooted by our chief guest, that we should discuss what are the key areas which need to be addressed so as to maximize the flow of CSR expenditure to the state of Bihar, which is one of the most, which is one of the biggest consumers. Means the consumers are considered to be one of the important stakeholders. And let me apprise to my esteemed panelists and to this August House as well. CIMP has been working on a knowledge paper, which we are soon, within a week or so, will be finalizing it. And this knowledge paper has worked towards understanding the entire CSR ecosystem as to how the various states of our country have made wonderful models of channelizing the CSR funds towards the growth and developmental initiatives of the various state governments by structuring new organizations and having the right blend of people, process, technology, and an organization under the ambit of maybe in form of trust or society. Most of the states have done a different mode of operation. Some have made a society, some have made an authority, some have done it under Ministry of Finance of the respective states, some have done it under the Ministry of Industries, and so on and so forth. And it has been seen that the states which have structured an authority and have done focused, concentrated efforts with the respective ministries of the state have been able to invite sizable chunk of CSR expenditure irrespective of the base. Like some of the states like Punjab, even though it does not have its own industries within the state, industries from outside the state have also been doing CSR expenditure more in Punjab. So having an ecosystem which is efficient, effective, and is motivating the corporates to come and spend. So there are a lot of other dimensions as well. One major hitch which has come of recent, I'm sure recently the implementing agencies are being asked to have CSR1 registration. And to have the CSR1 registration, there is a prerequisite of having Section 12A and 80G approval. And the central government has almost in an informal setting has put a brake on having fresh approvals of 12A and 80G. So in a way, the fresh pool of implementation agencies are not coming, and that is somehow to some extent coming in between the pace at which the expenditure of CSR funds being done by independent implementation agencies, which is indirectly motivating the companies to have their own trust and push it forward. So I think now I'll request my esteemed panelists to share how Reliance Industries has been focusing on key strategic dimensions of CSR expenditure, which is contributing to the sustainable development goals. Over to you.
Yeah. Now, slightly diversion I will take it.
Yes, please.
We have students who are the management students,
Yes.
quite energetic, somebody getting bored. But yes, I want to speak your language, which you will understand. What is the business? So talked about, business is about profit. Do you make a dirty profit or profit with the right means? And this is the answer. You as a business entrepreneur, which will be growing and becoming it, that is the language we should talk about. So when we say the business, which is the profit, and profit means you earn, do some activity. This is where your engagement of CSR, SDG goal, and the business goal comes into play. And the model which we are deploying is based on the green energy. Today, climate change at one end, poverty at the other end are pushing us to do certain things. So in this particular model, what we are trying to do is the renewable energy, this is solar energy, the wind energy, the biomass, which are abundant in the rural environment, are being utilized to power the villages. And why the villages? You are sitting in Patna. Okay, can I ask one question? How many hours the power supply is over here? Or the other way around? How many hours the power supply is not there? Any guess? Is it 24 hours available? Yes. Great.
No, they may not be able to answer because they get power backup. So there's very little power cut down.
This is the answer. Take you to the Muzaffarpur. Have you heard of this place? Yes, sir. What could be the power supply over there? Guess? 20 hours. Have you heard a name called Sakra? No. It's far away from Muzaffarpur. Power supply availability goes down to 15 to 16 hours in winter and as low as less than 10 hours. Now we are talking about big business, and business is about electricity. Do we have electricity over there to do the business? No. How do you get the power, motive load to do it? Poor chaps are deploying diesel generator set over there. And what is the cost of diesel over there? Very high. But poor chaps. The good thing about Bihar is the resilience. The resolute to do things. I've seen Bihar in flood, and after flood, how the life come back. Now, in these places, poor chaps are running DZ sets to run their atta chakkis, oil expellers, milk chillers, and whatnot, to get the milk from those Sakra village to Patna. Now, see the value chain. Do you see the opportunity over there? The cold rooms, we saw in one of the presentation in the first half. We saw about opportunity, how these guys can be done. And then we also see people from here, educated people, moving away from villages to city and to the metros then. How do you bring the balance? Today have old parents sitting in the villages. And in COVID, we have seen the beautiful examples of people going back to their roots and then struggling to do the business. This is where Tata Power's thought about creating a village level entrepreneurs. In city, many of you would see that they are good technicians or they are good at business. So we help them to set up the business what you are good at. We will supply power to you. And that will be green power supply. And what we do, the reverse migration started happening. The same guy who was earning 20,000 in UP, in Noida and Delhi area, today earns 25,000 sitting in the village. How much money saving is happening over there? Plus, which he used to come 6 months or maybe years time back to the village. He's in the village, his own family. Now, that's the change what we're talking about. This is the business for the people. When we set up this plant, which is a small plant in one of the villages, hardly 1,000 square meter, you deploy the local resource in that area to do the operation maintenance, acquiring customers. And sir was asking about, what is the challenge? Today we find difficulty in getting the right resources. Bihar, being very resilient state, doesn't have a skilled manpower. The skill which can be rightly deployed for the new technologies. All of us have moved from the desktop to iPads, and maybe some of us started using dictaphones to take the whole things. but in the villages, have people move their skill levels. Now here I was talking about that if you can get the entrepreneurship, which I think the institute is working on as a model, entrepreneurship is the answer to this problem. Second is about the skill development. You have institutes who could be rightly funded, rightly brought in to see the future technology. Upskilling is the answer. Because many of the things which were done manually are done now mechanized. And mechanized to electronically. Earlier I have seen in villages, they used to use randa, like for lakdi ko kaatne ke liye. Today, electric saw is coming. And I was surprised to see in one of the village, CNC machine being deployed for wood carving. Now, this is the upskill. The same carpenter which used to earn 100 rupees a day is earning 1,000 rupees. And this is the pure electric power supply and skill development. So I think these are the ways which you can do it. And lastly, I will just touch upon women. And we saw the beautiful example how the women have worked on the knee to get the things done. We are talking about work, a job which can empower them with respect. And how do you earn the respect? We have launched one small program. I'll take another 2 minutes for that. We have launched a program near Muzaffarpur where we went in the need assessment study and realized the women were good at stitching and those type of things. And so we tied up with Usha Silai School, and wherein we powered the green energy through our microgrid. So now they are getting 24/7 power supply. 15 of the women were trained, and surprisingly, one of the women was odd 60 plus. She wanted to, she came to the institute and said, I want my daughter to be trained. And unfortunately, I was there. I said, Ma, aap kyun nahi kar sakte? So she was shaken away. Arey, main to nahi kar paun, main apni bitiya ke liye aayi hu. I said, why? Why can't you be doing it? And somehow I motivated her, please, you can do it. And fortunately, the Usha Silai School, the instructor who she was there, she said, aap baithiye yahan par. Uska haath se machine chala rahi. She was so thrilled. She also joined the institute. And afterwards, 1 month afterward, I came back. Then I was told by those students कि पहले तो अपने husband के साथ में खेतों में जाती थी. बाद में धीरे धीरे करके उसका रुझान इतना बढ़ गया यहाँ की तरफ कि हस्बैंड लेने के लिए आता था तो नहीं मैं थोड़ी देर में आती हूँ और 5 ही दिन बाद उसने मना ही कर दिया कि मैं अब गांव में खेत में नहीं जाने वाली, मैं यहाँ सिलाई सीखूंगी. And today that lady 60 years plus is so privileged, so proud that she can do something by her own. She gets 2,000 rupees by silaing. So I'm saying this is you empower society. This is where you engage society into fruitful discussion and with respect. हम ऐसा नहीं कर रहे उनके ऊपर, उनको enable करना है बस. That's the thought process I have. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so very much. I think that was very, very heartening. I'll now come back to some of these statistics. Almost 14-15 months back, we had a program at Bangalore wherein we had Rajiv Kumar, the then Vice Chairman Niti Aayog, and from the forum he said from the national dashboard he could see more than 2 lakh crores getting spent through the CSR project. And I'll take you to the annals of history way back in 2007-8 when we started thinking of bringing the amendment in the Companies Act, and it took almost 5 years to get through the amendment, lower house, upper house, and then finally approval. So in those 5 years, in the initial stages when we thought, we were expecting to have close to an amount of 20,000 crores as 2%. Well, in the first couple of years, the overall estimation went up to 35,000 crores. And one of the statistics shared by none other than Rajiv Kumar ji himself, who has recently resigned. Now he said it was around 200,000 crores of CSR expenditure. I was sharing some statistics with one of the movers and shakers of the economy. He says, Dr. Singh, it has already crossed beyond 230,000. And very soon we are looking forward to close to around 250,000 crores. So the pace at which the expenditure is increasing, and thanks, I don't know whether it's a culmination of the serious stringencies of the government, wherein they said, you better do it or we put you behind the bars for 3 years, though later on it was retracted. But then the message was driven, the times have changed. So now my sole thought process to seek your views as to when the statistics are changing. Now, what is the thought process of the corporates as to how to catch up the pace, match up the pace, or outpace the expenditure on CSR? This is one. And before that, before I seek the individual responses, I would like to take you back to the annals of history. I was part and parcel of one of the strategic management meetings of the Tata Group, and this was at Hotel Taj Palace in the ballroom, Ragpur. I think the year was 2014-15. And Mukund Rajan ji, he was looking after the strategic planning, and so he said, and I remember one of the global counterparts also coming from the US office, they said, we at Tata Group, we are having more than $600 billion of our global revenue, and going by the Indian mandate, we are mandated to have $12 billion, and we at Tata Group, we are already spending more than $25 billion. So when I say the $25 billion expenditure by one Indian corporate, when we have an overall summary, the quantum is huge, 200,000. So now I'll come to an area which is closest to the heart of my students. With such big quantum of money being spent, what are the opportunities of career and their placement opportunities in the domain of CSR? So I'll start from Reliance and then coming to Jubilant Group as well. And then lastly with you, sir. Yeah, you can take this one. Placement opportunity.
So, right, okay. So, very frankly, we don't deploy people. We started our journey with people on a fixed salary basis, the rural enterprises, and we gave them fixed prices and some traveling allowances.
No,
but when we just
let me
want,
supplement the question. Within the corporates, there are people roles to focus on CSR related. Now we have designated vice president.
I will just share this example and then go back to the
Yes.
example because I thought it's very relevant for this group. So today what we have done, we have changed the business model to partner in success. That means that local resource will earn a percentage of commission what the revenue gets generated from there. Now this brings stake into the business of the people who are working with us. And this is a way where we're talking about entrepreneurial development at a rural place, which will leaps and frogs develop the economy over there. Now coming back to the core area of employability. Now Tata Group per se have sustainability group, the CSR group, and we have renewable business as entity. All three have those requirements coming through. But most of them will have huge, I would say, the rural space where you will travel a lot, but opportunity is huge. You will have to dirty your hand. Like for example, I travel almost 25 days in a month to those rural villages. So as to get the right feel, and many of you who are interested and be part of the journey of the growth, you can definitely reach out to Tata Power HR team, who normally advertise those areas. And we have a regional systems. So south, north, because we're expanding most in the renewable part of it. So it is there, opportunity is there. But the approach has to be very, very different. Dirty your hand, be on the rural part of it.
Thank you very much. I think after the Tata Group, I'll come to Jubilant Group. And I will also like you to emphasize on what is the increasing expectation of the HR for the budding managers to have understanding about CSR, ESG, and the related dimensions. Over to you.
In fact, since last 2 years, this entire sector is facing issue of manpower. So especially when this, especially in the ESG sector. I'm not telling just about CSR, entire ESG. Then recently, SEBI has mandated for top 1,000 company to report on PSR, BRSR. Now you imagine, without the support of such professional, how company can report? So they need person, and without working on those things, they cannot report also. Report is not just the job of secretariat or secretarial department. It's the job of line department, because they are giving data, and based on that data can be reported. So now you imagine 1,000 companies have been mandated. Earlier, in the CSR sector, many NGOs, development professionals who were working in the NGOs, they came into CSR field also. But the way the pace has, the expenditure has increased, we have not seen much position in CSR. But still, I'm seeing some traction into it after this amendment in the last 2020 January 22, when it has become mandated that you have to spend, or you have to open an account and transfer the amount, or you have to transfer the money to government account. Then they realize that they need a person who has to handle, because earlier what was happening, either they were giving this job, CSR job, to HR head or corporate communication head, or the CFO was handling, or in some companies the wife of promoters were handling. But now it has changed, because they cannot send their wife to behind the bar. That's why this entire system has changed. Now they are looking for such young professionals who can handle. And there is a big future, especially for the candidates who are studying an institution like CIMP or any big. In fact, my daughter is doing MBA, so I'm telling her regularly, why not to choose this sustainability and specialization. So it means it is increasing. While her interest is not in this, she is interested, but she is more interested in marketing. But I'm telling you all, that this is the growing field, and you all can get job under this sector if you will study the recent development on this SEBI guideline and CSR provisions under this companies act. Certainly there are a lot of scope, and the way in the last week, in fact, this is the recent development. So last week SEBI has clearly told that this year onwards all 1,000 companies have to report on BRSR. And without the professional like you, this cannot happen. So there is a very good future and bright future.
Thank you very much, sir. Just to supplement what he said, BRSR stands for Business Responsibility and Sustainability Reporting. So it's a mandate from SEBI, initially to mandate the 1,000-odd companies. Later on, it's going to be made compulsory for one and all. So this is just like जोर का झटका धीरे से लगे was the approach. पहले top 1,000 को करो, फिर next to 5,000, and then all 10,000 listed companies. So that's the gradual approach. So there's immense opportunity in the domain of corporate social responsibility, sustainability, ESG, which we talk about. And now we are left with 10-12 minutes. So I think we'll have 2-3 minutes each. Your final words of advice for the corporates as to how they can take CSR as a strategic route towards the accomplishment of the envisioned sustainability development goals.
1 minute I would like to spend on that, how to get the CSR in Bihar. You were talking about.
Oh yes, please go ahead.
See, one of the legal provisions is you have to spend the CSR money, preferably in the local areas, where your operations are situated. So unless until my operations are there in Bihar, I may not be able to spend the money. Because my first requirement is to ensure the local areas, then nearby local areas, like that I have to spread my wings around. Only bigger companies like top 100 listed companies, maybe top 500 listed companies who get all over India domain, only they may be able to spend, number one. Number two, you can also do that, the local registrar of companies who is regulating the corporates, he has to keep an eye on which are the companies they are spending, which are the companies they are not spending, send the show cause notices to those companies so that they will become that, as I he also spending that. Third thing is the advocacy. Most of the times it happens is, say for example, several times people ask me, sir, why you have to spend the money? Let me transfer to PM National Relief Fund, PM CARES Fund. That's it. You don't need to do anything after that. I said that, look, 2% of your money you give it to PM National Relief Fund. Is there anybody recognize your company? No doubt about it, as far as compliance is concerned, it is fulfilled. Instead of that, why can't you set up a small hospital in the area where you are? Or a small school and give your name of your company to that school or hospital? This is one thing. Your second question is about the students who are going to establish their careers. Corporate social responsibility. It itself is having the word responsibility. First of all, you have your mindset to take the responsibility. Then only take up this thing as your vocation. Number two, don't expect that it is a 25 job. You have to be passionate to handle CSR or ESG activities. Without passion, you cannot do it. By merely a corporate executive having a tie or a jacket, you cannot handle CSR or ESG. Third thing is you have to go to the ground. You have to be on the ground at least for the first 5 to 10 years, understand the nuances of handling the corporate social responsibility or your environmental, social and governance aspects are concerned. After that, you shift your headquarters. But if you are expecting right from day one, you want to sit in the headquarters and want to handle this thing with your MBA degree, you will not be successful. This is what.
And the last round of question, I think we'll have this. What should be the partnership model to work with leading agencies like UN, UNICEF and other similar bodies like ILO, UNDP and so on? A lot of multinational and international agencies are working in the country with their set of money, agenda and mandate. So what can be the plausible partnership models to work together and make sure we are compliant to the CSR guidelines as well as we are able to bring about a sustainable change in the...
According to me, in India we have more of SMSC sector, that small, medium and
MSME, yes.
Sorry, MSME are there. So I don't know how much they are going to.
No, I'm talking about the partnership model with agencies like...
I'm saying that MSME, how much they will be able to do it, I don't know that. Okay. The reason being the awareness.
Big corporates.
Big corporates maybe to some extent, but big corporates have their own nuances of handling CSR. They think that we know everything. We will handle on our own. Why we have to get partnered with somebody else? So this is sometimes that according to me, if UNICEF or any other organization like this, if they are able to create the awareness among the MSME sector, it will be more fruitful than of catching the big fish.
Over to you, sir.
I think entrepreneurship is the only solution, and that is the biggest opportunity also. So I was discussing with your
Kumarji.
Kumarji. So now government is also thinking on this line. So how to utilize CSR money? So like for us, so we have already worked on our strategy. So till certain level, we can spend our money in and around our locality. Till certain level. If profit is increasing, certainly your 2% will increase. You cannot spend all money in one village or 10 villages. You have to go beyond that. Then why you will spend your money where you cannot measure, you cannot manage? It's better to partner with any institution, or you spend it in such a way that can create more social impact. That is the only solution. That's why this incubation thing has been promoted by government. So now corporates are coming up. So I was discussing with Kumarji. So I'm already in discussion with IRMA and some other institution also, who are having registered incubation center. So we can transfer the, and this is the legal thing. It is part of Schedule 7. So we can transfer our money to incubation center. Incubation center can support any incubator. They can give them grant or equity investment also out of that money. That is the role of incubation center. And that money can be further plowed back for the same purpose. Like if they are buying the equity again, buying back, certainly then they can spend it in other startups. So that is the solution, and it will become the future. So entrepreneurship the only solution. Any young person who is part of this institution, if they also want to start their own enterprise, who can create, and there is a mention in that act. So to whom you can support? The people who are starting a business which is addressing SDG. So it has been mentioned in the Schedule 7. So certainly if you are starting a business which is addressing any of the SDG, in a business model, certainly you will get fund from your incubation center, and that incubation center will get from a fund from the corporate. So there is solution, but we have to work on this. and institutions like yours should be in
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, our incubation center is doing a great job in this area, and Honorable Chief Minister Shri Nitish Kumar ji happens to be the chairperson of this prestigious institution. We have been training a lot of entrepreneurs of the state under CMSCST Yuva Mahila Entrepreneurship Training Program. We have trained thousands of such people. Recently, we concluded the training of budding entrepreneurs, the female entrepreneurs from Muzaffarpur, from the organization called Jivika. So a lot of work is going on. More than 70 incubators have done their incubation from here, and Bihar government has set up a startup fund trust of 500 crores under the chairmanship of the Development Commissioner Shri Vivek Singh ji, and I also happen to be one of the members, one of the 9 members of the startup fund trust. And we've been shortlisting out of 10,000. We have been giving startup grants to the fresh startups in crores. Every month we are doing it, and we have also invited our young and budding managers if they wish to. So we are left with now last 5 minutes, so if you can conclude it fast.
Yeah, so like your institution is establishing lot of entrepreneurs. Government is also giving seed fund, but this is not the solution. You have to partner with corporate to get their business equipment. Otherwise, all startups will become failure. So without those mentorship, so I was telling him, mentorship is important for any business. This is like a compass for a ship. So any ship which is in the sea, if they are not having compass, they cannot reach to the destination. So they need corporate guidance.
Absolutely, goes without saying. Big hand for me. And we take you all as mentors, and all the fellow faculty members are also consistently in touch with business mentors like you and all others on the panel. And we are going on adding more and more mentors to our incubator group and to the CSR center and to the various other centers. So thank you very much for this wonderful advice. And the last round, sir talked about social impact. Well, the government and the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and institution Iccsr, they have always been advocating the focus on social impact, and social impact assessment has become one of the most indispensable activities in the whole process. So last round of focus on social impact assessment and how it can lead towards an outcome-based approach in CSR as a strategic role in accomplishing the envisioned SDG goals.
Yeah, I'll take your question to slightly one step back. I'm talking about ecosystem development. We are into the business. For doing the business, you need to understand the value chain, and each of the value chain partnership have to be there. Like Tata Power is a predominantly energy generation company. We are good at that. But for resource skill development, there are other organizations. For funding, green fundings, there are other organizations. For legal compliance, there are other companies. Take for example, this woman who produces the Silite product. How do I market to the e-commerce business? I need IT professionals. I need value chain, like who will take the product from the village to district to those. So I think the rightly said, collaboration is the answer, and like UNICEF, many such organizations would provide value to the whole project. Impact assessment is part and parcel before we start the project and after the project start. Baseline studies and the impact assessment study is integral part of it, and this is must to have it.
Fine. Now the final word from our UNICEF expert, Prabhakar Sinha ji.
When we are talking about social impact assessments, perhaps Manoj spoke about baselines. We need to understand that the entire discourse which has been on here is focused on taking away the skilling the people and taking them away, absorbing them in the industries. But my concern as a UN functionary is more on what is happening at the ground level. In last 5 years time, we have commissioned around 114,000. Government has commissioned around 114,000 water supply schemes at the grassroots level. Now we need the operation maintenance to be done. So where are the plumbers? Where are the electricians? Who is going to invest in them? Because they are not going to go to Noida or Delhi or Mumbai. They have to be here and they have to be available to operate and maintain. There have been around 4,000 plus solid waste management projects which have been set up. Now the e-rickshaws are being procured and used. The dustbins are being procured and used. So who is going to invest in that? Are we going to train the local youth and engage them and provide them with a livelihood option or not? Because when we are talking about the impact assessment, perhaps these are the areas where we need to invest and see how it is eventually going to impact the quality of life. Is it going to increase their income level? Is it going to affect their families in terms of health, education, water sanitation facilities? So these are the concerns which, as a UN functionary, I feel that are they need to be pondered upon, discussed upon, and see what can be the result.
Just want to add,
Yeah, please.
just wanted to add one point. In Orissa and also in Leh Ladakh, the company and through other agencies that the government has installed home lighting systems, because that time the solar panels were not as costly, cheap as today. So after, when we went back, some of the places after 2 years, they were defunct, and many places after 3 years, it was gone. When we went back, the societal dissatisfaction towards this technology is so bad that they said, no, हमको solar नहीं चाहिए, grid power चाहिए. There was nothing wrong with the technology. There was no one to maintain it. So today, my humble submission to this August gathering is, you bring a technology, you bring a business, please look into how do you operate and maintain for next 25 years. And there will be competency gaps. Please try to build up now at the rural level itself. Because as you rightly said, Noida से कोई नहीं आने वाला, या पटना से मुजफ्फरपुर वहाँ तक पहुँचने में 2.5 से 3 घंटा लगेगा. So please develop the rural skill development program in a massive way and upskilling. That's the answer.
Thank you very much, sir. Big round of applause for all our eminent panelists. Now we are open to question. I think we have with us Rakesh Rosanji, who's head of CSR from Indian Oil Corporation Limited, Patna. Please, over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. First of all, a very, very good afternoon to all of you. I am very, very happy to be part of this excellent panel discussion, and hats off to all the panelists. So you have really given a great insight to us how we should proceed towards CSR. So I am working in CSR. I am basically an engineer. I have done also MBA. In spite of that, I have chosen CSR because I want to really do something for our society and our own people. That's why I am in the CSR for the last 3 years. But my sincere worry and my biggest worry is that in spite of everything, we are the among very few countries which is having the written down CSR guidance policy, gazette notification, everything. But still, we are not able to implement successful CSR in our India. What is the main root cause of the problem? I just want to have your views on that.
दिल से होना है.
दिल से होना है.
See, rules आज ट्रैफिक के लिए भी है.
Forced to do the CSR in the way the government or the higher official or the VVIPs wanted to do it. So how it can eradicate that, it can be removed, that we can do the CSR from our own perspective and the true intention of CSR.
I think
If the business is for the people, then do what the people want, and you will have success. It's a two-flow example, but that's the only beauty. And the only thing will get successful is go to the grassroots, what they want. See, they may ask 100 things, but according to your business capability, there will be intersection point where the community needs and the corporate needs meet. Do that, because you can solve all the problems. Solve one problem, but go to the depth, irrigate. That is the only answer.
So there are two reasons for this. Number one, too high expectations. When the government has mandated this in the year 2030, they were having high expectations that the corporates, every corporate is more or less making profits. If you see the threshold limits, 500 crores net worth, 1000 crores turnover, 5 crores profit. So they thought that virtually every company has to spend the money, so they are having high expectations. We have to say that, number one, India is, we may call it as a developed country, but still it is an underdeveloped country. A lot of illiteracy is there, poverty is there, we cannot do that overnight. A beginning has taken place, it takes time. Because whenever you start a marathon also, you have to take first slowly, then you have to run fast. But unfortunately what was happening is when the marathon people, not even they are walking, they were just crawling. That's why the regulator got upset. They tried to make the law stringent. Now we started slowly running. According to me, in another decade and a half, we should be able to keep the pace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have another
I have a
question.
very small observation. Since morning, I have been listening all these speakers and I have jotted down why only corporate should come forward to achieve sustainable development goals. Why we are just relying on them? Why we? If we are going back to all dharmas, be from Hindus, be from Muslim and all Christianity, can't we do something from our own side? If government can put us on 30% slab of taxes, 20% slab of taxes, can't government make it mandatory for every person to contribute at least 1% of our salary for social responsibility? I'm not using the word corporate social responsibility. Rather, it is coming in my mind, why can't we use the term human social responsibility? Why only corporates? Corporates are facing lots of hassles. There are pressure from investors. We are investing in corporates. Why we are depending on others? Can't we go for community outreach programs? Like CIMP is situated here. Can't we just adopt your nearby areas to go for achieving developmental goals? Rather, I'm critically against it, relating it to sustainable development goals of United Nations. Why United Nations? घर में जब कोई बच्चा भूखा ही नहीं रहेगा तो हंगर की बात ही नहीं होगी. जब हम बच्चे को खाना देंगे, गरीबी हट जाएगी. जब हम उसे अच्छा एजुकेशन देंगे, जेंडर इक्वालिटी खुद ब खुद आ जाएगी. These are the goals वो हमें सिखाते हैं. We are imposed to think about it. It's our problem. जब एक बेगर एक डॉग से लड़ाई कर रहा है एक वक्त की रोटी के लिए, शादियों में इतने खाने बर्बाद होते हैं. Can't we take the human social responsibility to collect all the waste food and distribute in slums?
Absolutely true. And
Best into them. So they are also pressurized. There is no proper partnership. And moreover, if the corporates are functioning, वो क्यों 5 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी को पब्लिक पर लुटाएगा? क्यों लुटाएगा? Because everybody is running after consumerism, capitalism. So the basic philosophy needs, I think, reconsideration.
Thorough overhaul idea.
Yes. And moreover, I'm totally in favor of taxing every salaried person. 1% of their salary should go for this human social
Make
responsibility.
sure it reaches Madam.
It will
Nirmala
reach.
Sitharaman.
I will tweet today. I will definitely tweet. Why we are just depending on corporates?
क्या काट दिया काम हो गया, right? Can I spend 1% of our time on the field with the rural people? Time, not money. You will see wonders happening. These young kids who are sitting over here spend a day.
Just go extend one more minute to add to your question. How many directors of a company are going to the CSR area where the corporates are doing it? Whether entire body is going.
On 31st March, trucks are just parked near the paths and they are, full with woolen clothes or something or the other, and nobody is ready to take. Even the slum people, they are not ready to take it, and they are not takers because they have to show on paper that they have distributed this much amount of money.
I'll take your people in the suburban of areas of Noida. And I was party to the distribution process. We distributed almost 50,000 kgs and we could still see another 1,000 people waiting to get it. And it was so heart pinching, I cannot tell you. I came back and I wrote to the central government, to the Vice Chairman Niti Aayog, and you would be surprised to know it actually made the government move, and they announced compulsory allocation of food grains to 80 crore people. So the thoughts which you have been speaking has already been echoing in my mind. I wrote to the government in pure Hindi letter that's still in my Gmail email box, and it ultimately culminated into distribution of compulsory food grains to the entire country for many months. and I brought it to the light of the government that people are not able to get food grains because they have left the state, they don't have ration card, they are not getting it on their Aadhaar card, some of them they don't have both of them. So it was made transparent distribution. So yes, we echo with it, and I'm sure individuals also should. So with these words, I once again take this opportunity to extend a very, yes please.
Only one point I just want to add here, sir. In our country, India Corporation Limited, we have already, our company has already devised and issued one circular regarding individual social responsibility, where we are free to undertake such activity on our individual capacity. It's a wonderful thing which has been done. That's why I have said please.
Thank you so much. Big round of applause for Indian Oil and Rakesh Roshanji. And let me place on record my thanks and gratitude to Indian Oil and its Executive Director Vibhash Kumarji and Rakesh Roshanji. We are soon going to join hands together and work towards some of the CSR initiatives very soon. It's in the pipeline. We'll make a formal announcement very soon. And I take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt, sincere thanks to all the eminent panelists. It was a great learning experience for a lifelong learner and a student like me. And I really extend my heartfelt thanks from the inner core of my heart for being here at CIMP. And I also extend this thanks from CIMP, Center for CSR, my personal behalf, as well as all my team members, Kumodji, Jyotiji, all my brilliant faculty members. And last but not the least, the budding managers, the heart and the pulse of this institute. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time.
Just wanted one statement for budding young engineers, managers who will come there. Just go to a village and reach out to any other entrepreneur, businessman. You will learn the beautiful business language from him. Believe me, they are much more sharper than us with a lot of degrees. They have a skill. Please understand. That's only my request to you.
Thank you, sir, and we look forward to have long-term, sustained and a lifelong relationship with CIMP and all its stakeholders, faculty, colleagues, Center for CSR, the Incubation Center, and all our budding managers, the leaders of tomorrow, and all our alumni. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time.
Now may I request Professor Dr. Rana Singh, Director CIMP, to present Memento.
Yes, sir. पहले आपकी ट्रेन छूट जाती है लखनऊ में। आइए राजीव जी, ममता जी, सब लोग आ जाइए ना। आइए काम, आइए मैम, आइए अर्चना मैम आ जाइए प्लीज। आ जाएंगे फ्रेम में। आइए राजीव, इधर आके आज थोड़ा पीछे से ले लो जेंटलमैन।